Hello again, everyone, and welcome finally to 2 Minute Warning, the high-paced American football podcast in which the time is in short supply, but the technical difficulties certainly are not. My name is Jeremy. I'm joined, as always, in a rather complicated fashion by my co-host Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. After pretty much a ball ache situation, shall we call it? But
Yeah,
yeah, we got there in the end.
yeah.
Technical difficulties aside, Jeremy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm slightly less warm than I have been in previous weeks. Glad to finally be here talking some American football with you. If our chat could let us know that everything is working fine, that you can hear us both okay, and that you can see us both okay, that would be appreciated, because I'm not 100% sure that everything's fine. You know, we've had to bodge together a different way of doing things because our usual camera system that we use is not working. So I'm on my webcam. You can't see me. You're on Facebook Messenger with the
I
video
am.
imported, and
Yeah,
it's all a bit bodged, but I think we can do it. 33 Owen says A-OK, so that
that's right.
is all I need to hear to keep cracking on. And shall we just get straight into our first topic and get the show on the road?
Yeah, I think we should, shouldn't we? Really.
Absolutely.
So we've been watching Hard Knocks. So the long-running HBO series Hard Knocks kicked off its new season last week. This year's season focuses on not one but two teams, both of the LA teams, so the Rams and the Chargers. What did you think of episode one, Jeremy?
I really liked it, actually. It's not what we've been used to with Hard Knocks. I should probably start the title.
Yeah,
It's not what we've been used to with Hard Knocks. Obviously, it's the first one where there's two teams involved in the same thing. But also, it's the first time that we've had Hard Knocks happening at the same time as they're trying to work out how they're actually going to get a season going.
yeah,
So I'm really kind of torn between, am I watching an American football show, or am I just watching a documentary about, you know, life in the times of COVID? But I think they balanced that quite well in the first episode. It's good to see that they've got all their COVID protocols set up and that they're taking everything seriously. With what I've seen, I'm fairly confident that they'll be able to get seasons going, as long as every team around the league is like this, and I'm sure that they are. But it's going to be interesting to watch this series without there being a pre-season and with all these things in place. What did you think of it?
So I was torn myself. So I'm not one for documentaries, but it kind of felt almost another thing I don't like is reality TV, and that's what it felt like to me a little bit. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the episode. It was a good watch. I kind of liked looking, seeing the personal stories of the coaches,
Mm,
seeing them at home with their families, and seeing what the players were sort of doing in this long run up to what's now just going to be the regular season, and then getting tested, the whole normality of it all for elite sports stars over there in the States. I'm glad, and it's fantastic that they have everything in place, and that they're being positive about it all. But I'll tell you something I could not handle right at the beginning of the episode. I think it was with the Chargers head coach.
that's your
All,
time.
yeah, okay.
I realised I waved at you, but you can't
Yeah,
see me,
I
so
can't
that was
see
pointless.
you. Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
had to bring in a verbal cue.
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
Bazinga Ludlam says, Hard Knocks was better than expected. They had to up their game after the success of All or Nothing. That's true. Yeah, that's a very good documentary that I'm way behind on. I need to watch the last couple, actually. Moving on, though, to our next topic. And in some transaction news, weird to get actual transaction news now that we're back into the kind of swing of getting ready for the season. But
Yeah.
former Miami Dolphins and Houston Texans running back Lamar Miller has signed with the New England Patriots. It's your team, Matt, so you can kick us off. What do you think of this news?
Okay, so I mean, I feel like it's a smart move, even if he's not 100%. I don't think I saw him play for the Dolphins, but I'm pretty sure I saw him play down in Houston. It's a cheap pickup. It just crazy, crazy cheap, and I think if he hits incentives, he can earn something like $2.5 million in the year, which isn't bad for somebody who was out last year. I really want it to pay off for him, and I want him to be scoring some sweet rushing touchdowns. To be honest, how about yourself? What do you think about this whole transaction?
Well, it doesn't surprise me that you want him to be scoring those sweet rushing touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, this guy's fine. He has had some success in the teams that he's been with. That was a little while ago, and he's
Yeah,
had the injury bug a little bit. But whatever kind of side you take on this, for the Patriots, it's an easy like win-win deal.
yeah,
They've either picked up a bit of depth, and the guy's going to come back strong and go back to the like the winning ways or the form that he was in, or he doesn't do that. They've added a bit of depth. He could
yeah,
step
yeah,
in when their starting guys get COVID and they can't play. So there's not really any lose situation here. The Patriots taking a punt on the guy is fair enough, really. They've got nothing to lose. But I'm with you. I hope that it pays off for him because he's a decent bloke. He had to suffer in Miami for a few years,
yeah,
and then he had some success in Houston, but not really enough to carry him through.
yeah,
So good luck to him.
yeah, definitely.
That's our time. Nova Charter has joined the stream, and as somebody from the Boston area says, "Go Pats!"
Yay!
You're not on your own anymore.
A real stateside Patriots fan. one from Boston. That's fantastic. Welcome.
Just to catch you up, Nova Charter, this is usually the podcast in which we give Matt a hard time for being a Patriots fan. Because across the pond here in the UK, the Patriots are the glory hunter team. People who support them are given a hard time, quite justifiably. But
Yeah, I think the same happens over in the States, to be honest. So, you know,
I don't know.
maybe not in Boston.
He can let us know. There are
Yeah,
many bandwagon
yeah.
Patriots fans
Not,
stateside.
not anymore, I don't think, with Brady and Gronk gone anyway. So we'll see.
We'll see. But let's move on to our next topic. Over to you.
Okay, so more news, and I think we picked it up pretty much straight away after we finished last week, is on the Big Ten season. They're actually looking to postpone the season start rather than cancel it altogether. So after originally seeming like they were going to play a 10-game season, um, then making noise that they were going to cancel. Now the Big Ten College Football Conference have decided that they will postpone the season perhaps to later this year, so 2020, perhaps into the spring. What does this mean for college football and the NFL? And it's over to you, Jeremy.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is excellent news all round.
Yeah.
Other than the Big Ten screwing us personally by withholding kind of this announcement until 10 minutes after we finished broadcasting last week. So we went all in on they are cancelling, and then they're like, oh no, we'll postpone. 2-minute warning, guys. Like, you've misreported it.
Absolutely.
But for completely selfish reasons, this is fantastic. And I fully expect other college football sectors, conferences, whatever you want to call them, to follow suit, because it's going to be a bit of a domino effect in terms of the liability that these guys have. We mentioned it last week towards their players. If you don't follow suit, then there's going to be big problems. So
Yeah.
a few more will be pushing to the spring, I think. And that probably means that we get triple headers of NFL on both Saturday and Sunday now as they jump into that void. And not only that, if they're postponing to the spring, that means from September through to probably next June, even without an XFL season, that's solid football straight through and until training camps open for the NFL next year.
Yeah.
So that's ideal as far as I'm concerned. I've left you 35 seconds.
Okay, so all I can say is it's fantastic. It's back. It's going to happen. Lots of glorious football. So the fans can rejoice, and it's going to be a hell of a roller coaster ride for fans, players, and everyone right in between there. So we all love this game, and I think that if it is postponed till spring, we'll even get that bit of XFL in the mix too. So yeah, it's all good.
Never know. Yeah. Depends how quickly The Rock can get things going, I suppose. But
yeah,
there could be more football than we can handle, and I'm all for that. Onwards then to some exciting news, possibly. We'll see as we discuss it on this side of the Atlantic. Sky Sports and the NFL have agreed a new 5-year partnership to broadcast the NFL. This agreement marks the 25th anniversary of live NFL coverage on Sky Sports and will see a Sky Sports NFL channel launching from Thursday, September the 3rd. What does this mean for NFL coverage in the UK? Is it a good thing? 2 minutes, Matthew, here you go.
Okay, so I think it's a great move for Sky Sports. I don't know how much money has been thrown around at this. I know Sky Sports tend to throw a hell of a lot of money at international European sports, and it's a great deal for the NFL, for the UK fan base. Well, especially for the ones that pay for the service anyway. They've said, like I said, at least I think 5 games a week, something like that that are live. Is this the next step for the UK's road to getting more games, or the all-elusive franchise that's been touted for so long? I suppose only time will tell, I guess. How about you, Jeremy?
I personally have mixed feelings about this, and some people in the chat have kind of echoed what I'm thinking. Obviously, if you are a team supporter, you support one specific team in the NFL, you've got a real hard time watching that team in this country. Sky Sports will air what's usually the game of the week on CBS and Fox, and so me as a Bears fan, I get to see the Bears on Sky Sports twice at most in a year. So that is why I don't use Sky Sports for the NFL. If you get Game Pass, you can watch any game you want. But then if the game you want to watch is being broadcast on Sky Sports, it's blacked out and you can't watch it for 24 hours. So it's good that we're getting more NFL coverage in the UK, but as we're being encouraged by Sky and the NFL to actually hold allegiances with one team, they're still not making it particularly easy for you to be able to watch every game for your team. And that's our time. Screw it, I'm calling my time out.
Okay,
Another 2 minutes. But so for me, it hasn't really changed anything.
Okay.
We are still getting the same amount of games, probably. Like, we were always getting the Thursday night game, 3 games on a Sunday, and Monday Night Football. So that's the same 5. We're getting more kind of NFL Network stuff. But if you've got Game Pass, you get the NFL Network anyway. Not really gaining anything. And they say that they're launching their own bespoke panel shows and things on Sky Sports, but they're probably going to put bellends like Neil Reynolds in front of it, so it's not going to be watchable anyway. So while it on paper looks like a great move, and for the casual NFL fan, it's fantastic. But for the people who are really passionate about this sport and are really passionate about a specific team, I don't think it adds anything. I'm not going to be subscribing. I'm sticking
No.
with my VPN and watching the local Chicago networks, so I can watch every Chicago Bears game without pain of blackouts and all other kinds of nonsense.
Yeah,
To be
I
honest.
agree. Yeah, I'll be doing the same.
I highly encourage people who just want to see any team, doesn't matter who, and they don't have a particular team that they support, to get this Sky Sports package. It's not going to cost you any more if you've already been getting Sky Sports, so whoopee for that. But
yeah,
Game Pass, or paying for an international or an American network system of some kind.
Yeah.
So there we go. 4 minutes down talking about that. Somewhat slating Sky Sports and definitely slating Neil Reynolds.
I hope he's listening. It'd be quite funny.
Okay.
Neither do I.
I've given him a hard time on Twitter before, and he's replied and been like, "Ooh, ooh," like, "Shut up, Neil. Do a better job." Onwards then to the next topic.
Okay, so the Seattle Seahawks cut. Sorry, I found it funny from the off. Cut the rookie after catching him sneaking a girl. I hope it wasn't a girl. I hope it was a woman disguised as a player into the team hotel. So the Seahawks waived rookie Kemar Siverand on Tuesday, reducing their roster to 76 players. A rookie being waived is not usually headline worthy in the NFL. But it was the reason why Siverand was cut, and he made the news. The former Oklahoma State cornerback was caught on camera sneaking a woman into the Seahawks team hotel. Nobody other than player and team personnel were allowed inside the hotel during camp in order to prevent COVID-19 outbreaks. So Siverand gave the woman gear in order to disguise her as a player. Have the Seahawks been harsh, and is this really a big deal, Jeremy?
33 Owens has put in the chat priorities, and that's where I'm going to start. Is okay, it's high on a guy's priority list to, where I'm going, but this guy's a rookie. He's doing his best to make this team under normal circumstances where they had to cut the roster to 53. Maybe he doesn't make the team. But rather than take advantage of the fact that it's a strange year because of COVID, there are more spots on the roster. I think they only have to cut to like 80 or something like that.
Yeah.
So all he needs to do is turn up, do his job, and just play football to the best of his ability.
Yeah.
But no, this guy has got to go and get him some, and sneak this girl in by disguising her with like Seahawks merch. It's like, really? All he's done is jeopardized his team's chances of remaining COVID free, because he doesn't know who she's been in contact with. He hasn't done an extensive contact trace on this girl before sneaking her in. What a moron. What do you think?
Okay, so when we brought this story up together, it has made me laugh so hard. When I first saw it, I thought it was a bit unbelievable, but yeah, it was true. So it is funny, but maybe not for Kemar. But I'm pretty sure if he's, I don't really know the player, but I'm sure he'll find somewhere else. But Kemar, if I doubt you'll listen, but if you are listening, take my advice, young man. Don't get caught if you hadn't taken your chances. If you hadn't been caught, you'd still have your jobs and or your job, rather, not jobs. And you'd have got your apple pie, my friend. So it's silly move, but funny nonetheless.
Silly boy. I don't think he gets signed by a team this year. I think he's gonna be, his name's gonna be dirt for putting the whole season at jeopardy, basically.
Yeah.
Tit. Anyway, somebody who was not a tit this week, two people who were not tits and got themselves paid, were two tight ends in the NFL. George Kittle got his payday, making him the highest paid tight end in the league with over $75 million over 5 years. And Travis Kelce re-signing with the Chiefs for 4 more years, earning him $57 million. Do tight ends deserve all this money, or is it nonsense? Are these figures fair? 2 minutes, here we go.
Okay, so we spoke about George Kittle a few weeks ago when one of our listeners, Nick Ludlam, the funny son of a bitch that brought it up and fired that question at us before one of the other shows. And he asked if he was worth the money. I think we agreed, but my memory has eluded me due to being in lockdown and not actually knowing what day of the week it is, let alone anything else. So I think he's worth every cent, and good on him. Travis Kelce, yeah, he's worth it too. And when I looked it up yesterday, when he got paid his money or got the promise of the contract, he put his money into building a facility for disadvantaged children in the Kansas City area. So it's a feel-good story all round. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely right that these guys specifically paid this much. Should every tight end be paid this much? Should this be a new standard for the position? No, I don't think so. But for Kittle and Kelce, who are basically wide receivers that do more than wide receivers with extra jobs, they're absolutely worth every single penny of that. And you're right, we did discuss it fairly extensively a few weeks ago and agreed that Kittle should get paid. We weren't really talking about Kelce, but he's the same kind of player. He is your new tight end in the NFL that is more of a receiver than they are a blocker. They can block, gravy, but the fact that you have got somebody as rangy and as physical as these guys going into the end zone and catching the ball, pay them every penny. They're worth it.
Couldn't agree more.
And actually, Ludlam is in the chat. Bazinga Ludlam says George Kittle equals money in the bank. Which reminds me, I was supposed to be putting a little cartoon that has been released of George Kittle in a WWE ring, holding a Money in the Bank briefcase, but I forgot. So I'll share it on social media after we're done.
That cartoon was credit to Nick Ludlam for sharing it to me when I was asking him earlier if he agreed with the whole thing. So thanks Nick. Yeah. One of my favourite Hammerheads players. So gotta love him.
Sorry, I didn't shove it in, but it's been a night trying to actually make it work. Okay, onwards then to our next topic.
Okay, so as we've been doing the last couple of weeks, we've been discussing the state of the franchise. So this week we have moved over to the NFC North. And Jeremy would have corrected me if I had that wrong, but I don't think I did.
No, you did.
So we've come once again to our State of the Franchise segment where we take a look at the chances of the 8 divisions of the NFL. Today we, like I said, mentioned we're in the NFC North and start our discussions with the Detroit Lions. Jeremy, what do you think of the Lions?
That's quite a general question, but I'll try and keep it specific to their chances rather than my genuine opinions on the Lions, because that won't end well. There's a lot of questions around this team. Can Stafford stay healthy for a whole season? Does it even matter if he does? Stafford isn't a bad quarterback, but even in seasons where he's had every tool available and he's put up mega numbers, scored loads of touchdowns, the team just still doesn't get it done, really.
No.
There have been seasons, quite a while ago, granted, where he had the likes of Megatron, and they still couldn't get winning seasons or delve into the playoffs with any kind of
Yeah.
vigor. The receiving core's a pretty good one right now. The likes of Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones, TJ Hawkinson at tight end. So they've got all the tools on offense at least to get things done. But their defense is always bad, and they never seem really to be able to bring it together. Looking at their schedule, I think it's 6-10.
Yeah. The Lions are never any good, not in my opinion anyway. Like you said, if Matt Stafford can stay 100%, they'll win a few games, but their defensive line absolutely stinks. I can't see anything helping them, to be honest, this season. The draft pick that I've picked out myself was Jeff Okudah at cornerback. He was first round, third overall.
Mm-hmm.
He could be useful, but I don't know enough about him, and I don't think they have enough tools. And I just fear maybe a 5-11 season, to be honest.
Yowza. Okay. Chat's got some opinions about this. 33 Owens. I can't talk tonight. I don't know what's going on with my face. 33 Owens says the Lions could go 3-13 or 10-6. There's no in between. Yeah. Much like the Browns that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
The potential's there. Doesn't mean they're going to use it. And then Bazinga Ludlam replied, agreed, Mr. Owens could come down to how much of an effect getting COVID has on Stafford. Well, he didn't actually have COVID in the end, it turned out. It was a false positive. All that really happened is that the NFL pissed off his wife. If you haven't heard about that story, Google it, because
definitely
his wife's a nut job. And then 33 Owens said, I don't really rate Matt Patricia as a head coach. I don't either.
He was
Patriot
good in
loser.
he was good in New England. He just sucked since he's gone to Detroit. I mean, who'd want to? I mean, I don't mean to offend anybody who lives in Detroit, but why? I think the only thing that good that came out of Detroit was that program, with Les Gold in it, and Seth and whatever his daughter's name is. But yeah, there we
I have
are.
no idea what you're talking about.
It's something to do with like it's called hardcore porn, PAWN, not the other type. Yeah.
Right.
There we are. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. It's not really going to get much better, but here is our opinion, with 2 minutes on the clock, on the chances of the Green Bay Packers. You can start.
Okay, so I hope Love wins. But yeah, that's quarterback number one in Green Bay. Rodgers has always been consistent, whether it's consistently bad or consistently good. But I can see him elsewhere, and I called it earlier in the preseason. I think he'll end up in purple. I stand by that, but that remains to be seen. I don't think they'll light up the North, and I can't see them getting into a good enough record to challenge for postseason. 8-8 for me, but maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. But I do have extended family on my wife's side who actually support them for reasons. But on this show, family allegiances have no place. So, there we go. How about you, Jeremy?
Well, it's no secret that I've got no love for the Packers whatsoever, not even some Jordan love. But the second-year head coach has got both a blessing and a curse on his hands in Green Bay, and they're both named Aaron Rodgers. He's an alright QB, fine, slightly overrated if you ask me, but he's also a massive prima donna that Hail Marys his toys out of the pram when there's a slight, tiny little bit of adversity put in front of him. So, and with Jordan Love there, that adversity's already begun. You don't draft somebody in the first round if you don't have kind of your eye on putting them in soon. So maybe Rodgers is on his way out, and I think he's probably hoping Jordan Love, that is probably hoping to be the Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers and push
Yeah,
the old guy out the door.
yeah,
They've got an easy schedule, but I doubt they smash it. So 9-7, I think, for me. More generous than
yeah.
you somehow, as
I know, I
a
know,
cheese hater.
I know. I got plenty of memes about the Green Bay Packers from years ago somewhere. You know.
Yeah, I've got a massive Word document full of like inbred Green Bay Packers jokes somewhere. So
Yeah.
I'll have to dig them out.
Mine were never inbred ones, though. They were just general, like vacuum cleaners and stuff. Yeah,
Oh, that sounds delightful. We should move on swiftly to our next
absolutely.
team.
Okay, so get your pointy hats out. We're onwards to Minnesota and the Vikings. What are your thoughts on the Minnesota Vikings and their chances this year, Jeremy?
It's time to put up or shut up if you're Minnesota, really. Both fans and critics alike have spoken for years about the potential of this team,
Yeah,
and they're adamant for some reason that Kirk Cousins isn't a crappy quarterback, despite mounting evidence against that fact.
yeah,
But they've got a ton of tools, and if you're going to do it, do it. They lost Stephon Diggs, fine. They've still
yeah.
got Adam Thielen and a lot of good players there. And Diggs was causing more trouble than touchdowns at the end of the day, so oh well, no real huge loss. As I said, North's got a fairly easy schedule. 10-6.
Yeah,
That's erring on the cautious side.
yeah, yeah. So my question to you is, where's my drinking horn? Seeing as we're being Vikings, I think they've been an almost nearly team for a few years now, but nearly it just doesn't win rings, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Diggs is a big loss, like you said. They've got a QB in Cousins who can light up games on any given Sunday, but he generally doesn't. Um, 11-5 for me. Postseason probably. I just yeah. I'm not a massive fan, but I have got a couple of people who I play alongside that are diehard Minnesota fans in Paul and Harley Lebet from my Hammerheads team. So I won't hate on them too hard, but they always hate on my Patriots, so I could have been a lot worse. But yeah, 11-5 overall.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I think 11-5 is
Too
about kind
generous.
of, well. I mean, I was being a bit harsher in 9-7. I think in that kind of area,
Yeah,
between 9-12, probably,
yeah,
like
yeah.
depending on how well they play. I've just realised I keep putting my mouse over your face. There you go.
I don't need mice all over this. It's right. It's fine. It's HD now.
Part of the problem of using Facebook. But anyway, finally on our tour of the NFC North, we head to the Windy City for my Chicago Bears. So you can slate them first. Go on, 2 minutes. Here we go.
Okay, so who doesn't love an underdog? I do, but these are the Bears. So I know a few fans of what I like to call a now mediocre team. I think gone are the glory days. The whole QB situation sucks for you, doesn't it, Jeremy? And the head coach isn't much better, to be honest. Not that I know a lot about him, but I don't really need to know a lot about him to know that he sucks. Um, they do have Khalil Mack. He's a beast for me. And he's a fantastic player. I kind of try and snap him up on a fantasy draft if he could be a separate player, although you just snap him, unfortunately. Um, uh, I want them to beat the Packers twice. That'd be fun. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe they'll go 1-1 against them. I just want to believe they'll do okay. and seeing anybody suffer with a team that sucks like you have to, Jeremy, makes me feel bad. But this is the NFL, and every team for themselves. 9-7. How about you?
Right, you can call your timeout now so that I can finish this. Go on.
Okay, time out, time out, time out.
Okay, so I love my Chicago Bears, but honestly, what a mess. Like, first we were 100% behind Mitchell Trubisky, a guy for whom, since he was drafted, we've put up obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. And then all of a sudden we go from that to we're training for Nick Foles and his stupid contract for the competition or something. We're no closer right now to knowing who the number one guy is under center. They're both as average as each other, really. And the Bears were so bad last year that I totally forgot that I went to see them in Tottenham. I just forgot because I'd blocked out of my mind after they got beaten up by the Oakland Raiders, who were a terrible team last year too. But there is some good news, as you mentioned. The defense are amazing, as is usually a Chicago tradition. The defense far outshines the offense. Going alongside Khalil Mack, we've signed Robert Quinn from Dallas. So, it's Sackville in Chicago as far as I'm concerned. If the defense can win games for us, then yeah, we'll be 16-0. But it doesn't always work out that way. The North, in particular, requires a decent passing game and a coherent running game. And that's two things that, as you alluded to, I don't think Matt Nagy is capable of orchestrating. So it is with a heavy heart that I think the best that the Bears manage is a 500 season, 8-8.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a perfect 2 minutes. I'm quite happy with that.
I need that. I need that placard that says D and it's got the fence picture on it, like they do in the stadium. So if that's what you need, defense.
Yeah.
Wins games.
Dear me. Okay. Right, we have made it through a podcast that we've bodged together with random technology, so that's good. I did pose you a question last week, though, that I asked you to think about. I asked you to think about what your favourite American football film is.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer for me this week?
I do. It's one that I had to think about quite hard because there's quite a few out there that are star-studied and whatnot, have maybe ex-American football players that have gone over to Hollywood and done their bit. But I went right back to the glory days of 1999, and I found a film that I used to name my fantasy football team after, and it was Any Given Sunday. So it's the one with Al Pacino in and Dennis Quaid and Cameron Diaz. Not that I'm a massive fan of hers. I think she did some other films somewhere. But Al Pacino, a team that was the Miami Sharks, top of what they were doing. They had an old quarterback. I think he was approaching 40. Who got taken out. I think his name was Jack Caproni, and that was Dennis Quaid, and got his job taken off him because he got injured by a third string black QB, which was I think back. It's a good story. It's a very American football based. There's a lot of the ins and outs of how the business works. So yeah, I'd give it probably like 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, I think I'm going to do the same to you. So I'm going to spring it on you, and you're going to have to think of your favourite American football film for next week, I think, and we'll see if you come up with something different. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, it'll definitely be something different. There's a couple of good suggestions in the chat right now. Death Valley says The Blind Side.
Yeah, that's another good one.
33 Owen says Remember the Titans. and says he also likes Draft Day. I haven't seen Draft Day, actually.
No, I haven't seen Draft Day. Yeah. Yes.
A single Ludlam said The Replacements. I haven't seen that either.
No.
But I assume that's about the 1980, I want to say 7 replacement team when they were on strike.
Yeah, maybe.
And then Death Valley threw in Ace Ventura, which, I suppose is a football film-ish, kind of.
Yeah, it comes up on that list. If you type in American football films on, if you just put it in on any search engine, I'm not saying you have to use Google. I do. But yeah, there's Ace Ventura does come up there. I think is it Brett Favre in there?
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, that's the one. I knew it was some old QB.
Brett Favre is in There's Something About Mary.
That's right. Yeah, that's just a weird film.
Yeah, well, I've got some other films in mind that I really like American football-wise, but I'll save that for next week and
definitely
let that percolate in my brain in case something else comes up. But there's definitely some what's the word? Nominations, I guess, in the chat.
Yeah.
I might have to watch The Replacements and Draft Day to make sure that they don't supplant what's already in my head. But speaking of next week, in addition to my favourite American football film, we're going to discuss the NFC South.
Yeah.
And next week, slight change to the schedule, one off. We are on Tuesday night next week. Same time, 10 p.m. BST.
Yeah.
But just a slightly different day because I'm away for the weekend. But that is if I can actually get our usual system sorted and working, because this is a pain in the butt and I don't want to be using it every time. But we'll see. Technical difficulties aside, we pulled it together and the show was fine in the end.
Yeah, no camera difficulties. See, it's all cool. We did it. We got there. But,
and it was probably better for you not being able to see me anyway. Let's be honest.
What? Can you see me?
Unfortunately, so yeah.
Let's do that.
Anyway, that's where we will call it a close. Thank you very much for tuning in. Our first exclusively live show on Twitch. If you want to listen again, this will be available on Twitch for the next 60 days. It'll be on YouTube forever, or you can just listen on the Jez Show Podcast Network whenever you like. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.